little bit further in depth.
And we will go down to item number 15, which previously today was tabled. Since then, we do have the document from the EDC. Again, just confirm the only change was made, stating there that the letter of intent would not be filed at the clerk's office.
I'd like to rescind my motion to table it, right?
Yes.
I don't know if it's in the other intent for fair work and all.
I second that motion.
Okay. So there is a motion to rescind number 15, which was tabled. All in favor, aye. Aye. Motion carried. Now we'll go back to item number 15. Is there a motion to accept the revised letter of intent of the Fairfield Economic Development Corporation?
I'll make a motion. I second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Yes.
Okay.
Now we'll go to item number 16 on the agenda, budget review.
Y'all get a new printout?
No, we're not going to get much accomplished today because we still don't have everything in to see exactly where we are. Karen and I talked a while ago about maybe if we were to call another special court, it would have to be on Tuesday to have another budget review before Wednesday. Which I think would be important.
Yeah, we should. Once I won't be here, I'll be back Monday, so that'll be good. Tuesday.
We've got court on Tuesday and Wednesday next week. While we're here today, any comments? I know I did get an email from Billy. We should go ahead and address that today. They have ordered an ambulance on their own.
We did. So part of our budget, and I know y'all penciled us in for our normal amount we asked for, and we're asking for that. This year, so the last ambulance we received was through the ARPA funds that the county graciously gave, both services in our county. That was the last new ambulance we got. We took delivery of that in January of '24, and it took 2 years to get that ambulance. So at that time, our board approved start construction and purchase of another ambulance, which we knew was going to take 18 to almost 2 years to get. And started that. Well, now that's all coming to fruition now this year. We placed that order in January of 2024. We're supposed to receive it next week on the 19th. In preparation for that, we had moved some money to CDs so we could borrow against our own CD in order to make payments for that new ambulance. So that ambulance, when it was ordered, was roughly $188,000 to order that ambulance. Today's prices, they all went up. So when we order it from the manufacturer, it comes in chunks and in phases. So we had to pay for the chassis in January of this year. The chassis was purchased. Now the manufacturer's completed the build. We'll get a bill for that, which is the bulk of it. It's $225,000, which is what we had to finance. On top of that, there'll be another $74,000 that equipment for it's the load system in the truck and a structure that goes with it. That'll come out of our fund balance because we'll owe that portion of it also. So just kind of graciously asking if funds are found or you'll have additional funds to help us with that capital purchase of that ambulance.
So the money that you're gonna borrow against your CD will be the $225,000, and then you have another $75,000.
If we're going to take out fund balance.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what's the actual total delivered, everything we already got?
For this bill,
Just roughly.
it was 380,
380?
380,000.
So like ambulance chassis.
Yes, sir.
So, if y'all not paying for anything, what's the total, 450?
No, that was the total cost.
380.
That was total cost.
Yeah. Because they're looking at this and have to pay 300. They only budgeted to borrow 225, basically. Get
It
your
was
CD.
like 221 is what we could borrow against the
So if there were $75,000 found, it would, then y'all could start with your original plan of borrowing against your CDs, and you wouldn't have to be looking for that money coming out of your balance.
Correct. Just to add on to that, so the judge applied for, it was House Bill 3000. It was a grant issued to the counties, which all received and approved, I believe it was back in May. And we were selected to get that purchase of that ambulance. So those grants went out depending on population of the county and how much it was. 500,000 for like under, what was it, 12,000, 6,000 population, and then we got the 350. So that none of that money can be used going back
For
for
what you're doing now.
yeah. So that question was asked, and it was asked to, the legislators who made the bill and wrote the bill.
Is that ambulance ordered yet?
No, we're in the process of it right now.
So we'd be looking at the fiscal year 9 on receiving that probably.
So if I ordered it today, I've been told 12 to 14 months. So 27, maybe the fiscal year 27, 28. Just, I'm thinking either the third or fourth quarter of next year.
And you're also thinking that the $350,000 grant is still going to be $30,000 shy of what the ambulance is going to cost.
The quote for that ambulance was $408,000.
Well, hey, $458,000.
Yeah, $408,131. So that portion, obviously, the 350. And that's not equipped. I mean, that's not
Well, that's not the total length.
That's not all the stuff you have to put in that thing, so.
You'll also have interest that'll tack on to that
Yeah.
$350,000. It has to be in an interest-bearing account, and the interest for that money has to be spent on that ambulance purchase also. So you'll have a little bit of interest in there.
Bill, do you think your transfers out of Fairfield's gonna pick up now that the hospital is?
It's predicted not to. I don't see, if I look at it in my perspective as a paramedic, I do think it would increase slightly. But it's not predicted to. I mean, most of the things that we have to transfer out would be transferred out regardless, because of the specialty cares that we're just not able, the expense of having that specialty care here is hard.
Yeah.
To have a cardiologist and orthopedics and stuff like that here. So most of those are, to me, it's gonna be just kind of an even kill. It's the same things we've been doing already. But with that said, I mean, my understanding is the hospitals, their accounts are going up monthly of how many patients they see. Well, in turn, that drives our stuff up too. So we have a higher call volume than we did last year. That's ticking upward, but it's not a drastic change from over last year. Maybe by the end of the year, what we're projecting is maybe 100 or 200 more runs. That's not necessarily transfers.
Right.
So, just with everything that's happening in this county, with all the construction that's going on and the populations, man, I'd like to know what the population is during a workday.
Right.
Because all the trucks and everything that pass through here and the accidents that happen and stuff like that. Going forward, I have applied for a grant through the state of Texas. And it's looking promising. It's to help cover another cost of another replacement for an ambulance. And there's phases in that grant that I've applied for.
How many do y'all, you've got 2 operating, y'all have 3?
I have 4 ambulances, and there are oftentimes we are staffing 4 throughout the week. It just varies.
People is that?
To staff 4 ambulances, so a minimum of 8 people.
That's just per shift.
So I have 2 ambulances, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We've been staffing a 3rd ambulance for peak calls. So that's 6 and 3 ambulances that we've been staffing 3 or 4 times.
Keeping people's on call, I guess, for.
And then the Ford truck that we've been utilizing, we went ahead and licensed the Ford truck when we had it, and we were fortunate to do so because we've been utilizing them. Monday, I had 4 trucks running, so I was on one of those trucks, so helping staff it. So we're going to maintain the license of at least 4 of them. With this ambulance we're receiving this month, I mean, there is a possibility of licensing it and staffing it, and that takes people. I have more personnel now than I've ever had ever working for me.
But I guess the revenue from the calls that y'all make are allowing.
Yes.
So
I mean,
those additional calls brings in additional funds.
It is.
Allows you to spend more money on additional staff.
it does, and the ability to be able to do those transfers and stuff like that. Now, it's a double-edged sword. Not everybody has insurance. Most people, the high percentage of any kind of coverage we see in this county for my service is Medicare, and Medicare rates don't cover the expense. Like, if you put it side by side, it does not cover the expense of an ambulance. Having it ready and staffed, it doesn't cover that expense. And they know that, Medicare knows that. I mean, we're part of associations that, lobby legislation and the federal side of that present that to them every year. They continue to, because we are a rural county, we get a little percentage increase on the Medicare rate, and that's renewable with president's signature. Right now, it was every year, and so there were times when it's part of other papers that they refused to sign, and 3 months of that, we did not get that percentage, and they come back and pay it in arrear later on when it was signed into effect. So that's a case, we're trying to get that, as the associations are trying to get that as a done deal, like, that you need to be doing this.
So you can budget for it every year.
Yeah, because it's just all conditional to be renewed every year.
Yeah.
Thank you for what y'all do.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, like I say, we can't tell you anything today, of course, but,
Anything we can get, it helps.
yes, that's great.
Thank you, Billy.
Anybody else have any more talk when you're here today?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I've talked to a couple of you about moving the JP4 office to Streetman. And I know that building over in Tig is cramped, limited space. I have a contractor in Streetman that lives there, works there. He will build a building to suit right next to City Hall. Lease it to the county for $1,000 a month. And, I think it's a good deal. I think it'll be a plus for Streetman. I think it'll be a plus for Precinct 4, because that puts the JP office in the most populous part of the precinct. Easy access for Wortham, Streetman, Curvin, all that area. I've already submitted all the numbers and everything to the judge.
They're in our
Yeah.
budget request portion of the books.
So, any consideration, I would greatly appreciate it. I know for a fact, I know that Precinct 4 is the lowest revenue JP office in the county. And I know for a fact once I get in there, I can build that revenue. I can pay for that building. I guarantee you. Because not only will I be a working judge, you know, like right now I hold 4 jobs. I work all the time. And getting rid of one of them and throwing my 100% time into the JP world, I know I can make a huge difference for Freestone County.
What about security, Lord? Larry? He watched you.
Yeah, we just have to put a camera there.
Okay, doesn't do it? Okay.
I don't remember the cost of the cameras, but
Well, I mean, yeah,
$1,400 initial cost, and we own them. It's not a yearly cost associated with it, so.
And I've talked to Streetman as well, that, you know, some of my civil cases and stuff like that, I could actually hold court there at City Hall, and that would free up more of the time here in the courtroom for the other judges to use that are here local. So they're willing to do that if I can get my office there and be, you know, have that other presence in Streetman. Because, you know, the county's growing, it's growing everywhere. So, you know, any consideration you guys give me, I greatly appreciate it.
And another thing about that is there was a way that we could get some of the revenue off some of those other JPs. I mean, I know that the highway patrol's taking them down there and all that kind of stuff, but with the JP that's actually working every day and doing what they're supposed to be doing up there, I think they'll start taking some of their tickets. Because we got 45 in our precinct, we got 84 in our precinct. So those tickets could go up there, go there. I mean, if it means you have to come get them or whatever, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, you know, as soon as I take office, one of my first steps is sitting down with the highway patrol sergeant, letting him know, you know, the court's there to help him, you know, file the tickets. And he don't even have to drive them up there. If he just stack them up with his DPS secretary down here, I'll come down here once a week and pick them up. You know, they don't even have to bring them to me. You know, I'm willing to do that just to get the, you know, get the revenue up. Like I said, I work every day, so, you know, I have no problem doing my part. And I think the revenue it'll pay for that office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else ever want to go over anything?
I just want to add, I want to try to put in a policy for salary and fringe items, kind of to block them out to where, it's always been done this way, I just don't know that we've ever had a policy that's been set in stone. But the salary and fringe line items are decided by the Commissioner's Court, it's not the department's, what the department's setting. And so those numbers, so the way it is right now is, even if you have an employee in your department that is not choosing to take county insurance, those funds are still put in that insurance line item. So when we get down to the end of the year, people want to just spend the money on things that, just because the money's there, not because there might be some needs, but there's a lot of wants too. And so we can put a policy in place to basically where those line items are locked and they're only used for emergency or unforeseen circumstances. And so that way, you know, like that would be like me, I have an employee in my office that's not currently using county insurance, so I have $12,000, so at the end of the year, I'm just gonna say, oh, I have $12,000 in my budget, I'll go buy whatever I want. It's not very cost
It
effective.
just would not allow them to budget transfer.
They would not, and they can if it's an emergency or an unforeseen circumstance. So basically what that's gonna be is, if you have a computer that breaks and goes out and they need a new computer, that's gonna be an emergency situation. You have to have the computer to work. If you have a software cost that was unexpected, those can be covered, but it's not per se for buying a bulk order of office supplies just because the money's sitting there.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
I don't either.
At all.
That's something we need to put on the agenda for the, next Wednesday.
I mean, it can be done through budget review, but if we want to put it, we can put it on the agenda for next
So Tuesday
Wednesday.
always.
Mhm.
Is that something that you'll have to get with Brian on to,
Yeah,
but would get his blessing before coming forward?
I mean, not necessarily, it's done by the commissioners, you don't really have to have it,
Right.
but, I mean, there's no statute, I've already kind of researched, there's no statute in us. There are some statutes that if it's in their budget, they can use it, but I think people try to, your budget is set, so what y'all allocate for insurance is meant to be used on insurance, it's not meant to be transferred just because it's in your budget. So there's some statutes that, like, if it's in your budget, you can use the funds, but if it's been approved, it's for insurance purposes, it's to be used for insurance. The only stipulation to that is if you have a salary expense that's not covered, then you are required to move those funds. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing you can do if it was budgeted for insurance for that certain purpose.
Do people have to get a PO from you before they buy something?
In our current purchasing policy, PO should be, we should have a PO prior to making a purchase, yes.
Are we complying with that?
Some do, some do not. Something we're gonna look into doing is updating that. The purchasing policy hasn't been updated since, I think, 2014.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna try to do that because, you know, the limits went up from 50,000 to 100,000, so that needs to be updated anyways. But I kinda like to leave it where it's at right now, just because there's so many people that come in and I get the, why didn't follow purchasing policy because I was told just to get 3 quotes. And that's how we've always done it. And so when that happens, then we're not following purchasing policy. So if we keep it at the lower threshold right now, that doesn't open it up for more people being able just to continue to not follow purchasing policy. So that's why we haven't redone the policy yet, just so we can kind of get a grasp of things and get everybody following what's current
But the
right now.
statute did change. and
The
so-
statute changed, but even, the statute allows you to go up to 100, but county can set it how they want, and the way it is right now is at 50,000.
One other thing that we don't have a number on, and we talked about, we never did kind of agree on it, is the cell phones wasn't just county officials, but I know Mandy and Kelsey and Karen use their personal cell phones for a lot of other county business.
I think the way it is, though, is it doesn't really matter if we get a county phone anyways. If they want to subpoena our phones, they're going to subpoena our personal phones anyways. So to me, there's really no difference. They have a right to they can subpoena our work phone, but they can still subpoena our personal phone also. So I personally, I do not need it.
You wouldn't want that.
No. I mean, if they're going to subpoena a phone, they're going to subpoena both of them anyways.
Does anybody remember who all talked about going one? Did you want to remember? I know Karen did.
Karen Levitt did.
Right.
Yeah.
I need. I will tell you, about 90% of what I use my phone for is county business.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time forgetting my personal phone. I'm not going to try carrying around 2 phones.
Yeah.
And I think it's a choice. If you choose to use your personal phone, we have an office phone that can be used. You're not required to answer your cell phone.
I guess between now and next week, anybody that wants one, we need to know so we can budget if y'all want to allow that.
I think Buck needs a new phone, like a real phone. No more flip phone.
But would you like an iPhone model 25?
You wouldn't know what to do.
We all, one time, all elected officials got a $60 phone allowance every month. And everybody in here already had a cell phone. So if you elect to use your cell phone for your county business, that's on you. If you don't, you got one in your office. I think everybody here's got one in their office. I think everybody's got access to one. I don't think they need to get one person. I don't think the county should have to pay for individual cell phone. That's just my opinion.
I thought they took that budget line out and did it with your salary.
No.
I thought that's what they did do back in the day.
They didn't put it in my
said-
salary, they may have used, but not mine.
No, this is before me. I'm saying, I thought that they had said now it's just part of your salary, your phone or whatever. But like people like us get called out and stuff.
We get a cell phone allowance of $1,020
Oh,
a year.
I like that idea.
And we use our personal phone. All the elected officials, I get one. There's certain people that are around that have different jobs. They get $1,020. It's a different line item. And, that's what we get. We don't get county phone.
I guess right now, the only people that really have county phones is primarily the deputies, and I know Leonard's got one. What about our constables, are they,
LJ's got one.
do they have a county phone now?
That came from the sheriff's office, didn't it?
They come to the sheriff department, it's part of the environmental side.
So the other constables don't? I just think that if you tell someone that, hey, the county's not gonna buy you a phone, you don't wanna use your phone, don't use it, that's just like slowing down production on an assembly line, you know?
I mean,
They're using out the kindness of their heart right now, don't have to, but things get done, I can pick up the phone and call her when I'm at a conference or something, and she may not be, and of course, she may be on her lunch break, but she can pull up any email. She's notified, sending me a text over the weekend if we got something by email that we're gonna need to address Monday morning. And, I mean, that's worth a lot.
Well, if you think you need it for your office, I'm not opposed to that for your office. I'm not opposed to that, but for a personal cell phone.
I don't think everybody needs one, I'm just saying the people that are using their phones and would rather not have county business on their personal phone.
Well, I
they
think,
should-
like with Mandy, she didn't ask for a phone, she asked for a cell phone allowance towards her phone.
I already have two separate lines, I can separate them. Like, my phone's ringing right now and an employee's calling me, like, my office is closed. So, it's just
What-
to separate those two.
What's the average monthly cost of your cell phones?
Well, I think when we did this budget, I needed to add one phone. I think it was only costing me about $500 a full year. But we're on that big old plan. We got a whole bunch of users, so.
Yeah.
I will say this is my take on why I feel like I need a personal, or not a personal phone, but a county provided cell phone. I want to differentiate the two. I don't want to be doing any more county business on my personal cell phone. What really irritated me, and I'm sorry I'm getting upset, was when my mother-in-law died and people were asking me to do county business while I'm out trying to grieve my mother-in-law's death. That's what irritated me.
I'm for it, I mean, even if it's just something out of the.
I think you can, me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
And the cell phones, like, the cell phone itself is pretty much free. So you're just paying for the service. I mean, every phone we got was pretty much free. They give you the phone. I know every email I get comes from Karen's cell phone,
Yeah.
just like that road bill that came.
Yeah, she got over the weekend.
Yeah,
Passed it
cell
on.
phone, you know, it comes from Karen,
Right.
her phone. Oh, that's what you keep up with too, man.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I can't understand.
Go underneath his plan. It'd be cheaper to go underneath his plan to get.
Let me see where, is Leonard's phone under your plan, or is he on a
So
separate?
it's under ours too.
Yeah.
Yeah, any law enforcement, really, we're under that, special priority.
Personnel.
Yeah, personnel.
They use their phone out there while they're on scene somewhere. So, I would want to view or whatever.
All right, so Karen needs a phone, but Mandy doesn't want a phone, so.
I think she's opposed to
That's your office.
getting a phone.
Right. What's
And
that?
like, it's back to wants and needs, it's not a need, it was just a want to separate, like Karen said, to segregate those two. So, I don't mind Karen with 2 phones, if we want to get another phone, but I had just asked for an allowance, because I already have 2 phone lines, a phone line that's unused, I could get another cell phone on my own, and separate the 2.
I think, once you open it up though, I think you're gonna have all the other employees coming and saying, well, I need a county
That's
phone
what I
too.
was just to say.
I mean, that's the only thing is you open it up, I mean, I can guarantee you, probably everybody in the county answers work phone calls from home, do you? Yeah, okay, so you open it up to 1 or 2, you're gonna open it up for the
We just
entire
had
county.
discussion in my office this morning, my guys, something come up about cell phones, said, but we couldn't make it without them, because we're constantly.
Yeah, your guys are using their personal
Oh, yeah,
cell phones,
yeah,
so
yeah.
you call and tell you they just blow out a tire.
Come back to walkie-talkies.
There's still one tractor, precinct 3 that's got an old CD in it. Yeah, I was there.
We used to have a precinct phone for precinct 4 at one time, and then it was too much trouble for one person to carry it, so we just did away with it, you know, I mean, I got, like you say, my guys all got cell phones, they call me, I call them.
Back when cell phones first started, I know, I think the county paid for the commissioner's phone, back phones.
We could go back to that.
They can make them.
What would be the proper amount for a cell phone allowance in your position?
I think I pay $100, $130. But I mean, that's for 2 lines, installments, I don't know what it would be like on a group thing, because it's just myself, so. it's-
Well, I'm just thinking like, so the road and bridge employee that is using his phone to communicate with the commissioner, they're not sending massive emails and there's not as much to it,
No.
you're just using it as a phone. Which to me, if he was gonna have a phone allowance that they got to help pitch in on what they're paying, but that data plan
Yeah.
that they would have to have just to talk to you is a lot less than a data plan that you would be using
Right.
for, Anyway, I just want to bring it up, y'all can think about it, and then we'll have another board, we can do some guesstimations on it.
So y'all hadn't really done many corrections since last time?
So
What's changed?
the only corrections that I did were, the salaries with the raises and the, updated FICA, Medicare, retirement,
still
and
need to get
The
insurance.
road and bridge money has not been put in there.
Okay. I just want to see how our numbers come out, when we crunch them out.
Yeah.
So we're not ready.
No.
Kelsey, in your research for all this on our salaries and stuff that you do, did you see about cell phone allowances, what other counties do?
The
No.
19th.
But I can look into it, that's what we were talking about, is maybe seeing if there's like a state
That's what it makes
across the board, like $30 to $60, $60 to $90 per month, or, a solid number.
We could have a special court Tuesday, I think.
So we have to get it
Done
worked.
Tuesday.
We need to knock it out Tuesday.
Because
10 minutes on Wednesday.
Wednesday is very important.
See what we can do. Yeah, it's twisted. I have my dates on mine wrong.
one thing that me and Cinnamon was talking about earlier, I don't know if y'all know it, but I run all the environmental crimes in the Bear County. I'm well versed on all the environmental stuff. So if the other JPs would allow it, all the environmental stuff that LJ would come in contact with, writing citations would come through my court, since I already know about it. And something we did in the Bear County, under the abatement program, the county judge, the administrator of the abatement program falls to the county judge. And that county judge has to appoint an administrator for the abatement program, which they appointed me, which it would go like to LJ. But the Commissioners Court also has to designate hearing officers for that abatement program. Now up there, they went in and made all 4 of the JPs hearing officers for that program. And if the other JPs agreed, which, we could all sit down and talk about it, and you guys, as a Commissioners Court, could go in and designate, say, me as the hearing officer for all the abatement. Does that make sense? And that would generate more.
So their county policy basically said that all 4 JPs could be hearing officers.
Yeah, what I did was I wrote a 26-page ordinance, because a lot of these state laws, in order to enforce them at the county level, they have to be adopted by the Commissioners Court. I wrote that document, it went through the DA's office, it's all signed off on, and in that ordinance, the abatement program, which, I don't know if y'all know what the abatement program is, but.
No, I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
So, if you have a landowner that's got a big trash dump and all that stuff, and you go out there and arrest him for illegal dumping, okay, on the criminal side, you can charge him with a state jail felony, illegal dumping. But even though you own your own property, you cannot dump anything on that property that didn't originate from that property. Especially if you get paid like to clean out old houses and stuff, and you come and put it on your property, that falls under commercial illegal dumping. Well, on the civil side, you can go for an abatement order. What that means is, it goes to the DA's office, they get an abatement order prescribed by the state, the county goes in and hires a contractor, they get 3 bids, they hire a contractor to clean that whole property up. Whatever that bill is gets sent to that landowner. You see what I'm saying? But that abatement order has to go through a judge, which is the JP up there. And he has to say, yeah, apparently you didn't comply with the county's notices that you're in violation of the state law, da-da-da. Therefore, yes, I'm gonna order this abatement.
And most of the time, that's probably after they've been told 3 or 4 times.
Yes, that's after they.
Giving you an opportunity to clean up your own.
And then the county sends them a bill, and they have so long to pay the bill. If they don't pay the bill, the county puts a lien on the property.
Right.
You don't pay the lien, the county takes the property and sells it. That's the way that abatement process works. But that has to be adopted by you guys in order to go through that process. One of them is you have to appoint an administrator for the abatement program, and you have to appoint hearing officers, or 1 hearing officer. So I didn't know anything about environmental when I took it 3 years ago, so I had to learn all this stuff on my own. But there is a lot to the environmental side that the county can do to clean up the county, but it all has to be black and white and legal. And it's unfair to, I sit down and actually train the JPs up there, what they were looking for, how it works and all that. We may have a JP that don't want to do it. And
You can have it.
I was gonna say, the JPs are fine with
We
you
have
being
no
that.
issue, I can change
Yeah.
your mind just fine.
But you see what I'm saying? So
That's great.
that would be another avenue, to increase the revenue on JP4.
Yeah.
And I have no problems doing it. I've been doing that for the last 3 years. I'm well versed in that. It's just something I kind of.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good that the county can have by having a 2JP.
What happens if that property is, one that is still owner financed? Because I mean, I know there were some places east of here that were owner financed to people, and they come in and really trashed up the property.
What's been happening up there, the owner finance guy, we have a bunch of properties that are splitting up,
Yeah.
and they're selling them $1,000 down for every pay. Well, they have covenants and they have regulations in these places that they're not enforcing. So we've been forcing the property owners, the quasi-finance company, which is one developer, to clean up his properties and enforce his covenants. So when we start putting pressure on him, he normally just forecloses on the property and moves them out. Because he knows he's the ultimate landowner.
Yeah.
So we're going after him.
What determines it needing cleaned up? That's my problem.
Well,
You know where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
I mean, what I think's trashy and somebody else, where's that line? Where's that line?
if it's an environmental
Property
hazard,
rights deal, where's that line?
such as it devaluates the property around you, it creates rodents, rats, snakes, everything to infringe on the property next to you. You're dumping tires, hazardous materials, paints, solvents, stuff like that.
I get that. I'm just thinking unsightly. I'm talking
Yeah.
unsightly. Where do you draw that line on property, on violating property
You know,
rights?
even if,
Unsightly shouldn't be, that's not,
But no, when you say devaluing your neighbor's property, that's unsightly. That's exactly what that is.
yeah,
So
but
that's crossing a line.
But that's actually state law, that's not nothing that we do here, that's all under the Health and Safety Act. So, everything I do in environmental is written in state law, it's enforceable under state law. Doesn't matter what you guys adopt or whatever, state law is state law.
But then,
Now,
if that's the case, then you can do it anyway.
Yeah, but
I
the
mean,
problem
that's-
is, I come to you and I serve you a letter that says you got washers, dryers, you got junk, and it's within 300 foot of a subdivision, or it's visible from a public road. You have gas cans, you got old paint cans, you got, 5-gallon hydraulic fluid cans, you got all this stuff. I serve you a 30-day letter, you gotta clean it up. If you don't clean it up, normally what we do up there is we just keep working with them 2 or 3 months until we get down to, okay, now we're gonna go through the abatement process, and we're gonna clean it up, and we're gonna bid.
that's the same way the city's abatement policy works as well.
Yeah.
Here at Fairfield.
It works the same as a code enforcement in the cities. Because we have a bunch of properties up there, like, even abandoned properties. You go in and deem that old house as a fire hazard, yard's all grown up, the grass ain't supposed to be over, I think it's 2.5 feet tall on state law. And you can order them to mow that yard.
In a rural area?
Yep.
That's bullshit, in my opinion.
Well,
I got a tract of land, I've also got an old house on it. I'm gonna tear it down, I'm not saying got rid,
yeah,
but, that's a fine line on property rights. You're crossing, you gotta be careful how you're crossing a line on property
Yeah.
rights. I agree with me or not, but
yeah, and
I'm just glad he said you can't see from the road, because they got an all-over piece of property where I.
I'm just gonna say, you better keep that away from this car.
this one's on the highway, you can see, but I'm not trying to be I'm just.
so I know, trust me, I talk to landowners all the time that say the exact same thing you just said. It is a fine line, and unfortunately, politics plays into that deal. Everybody's an elected official. And, same as a junk vehicle ordinance, in that ordinance is junk vehicle. If you have an inoperable vehicle that's not registered, that you don't drive, it is not supposed to be seen from any public right of way.
So behind me, all those sheriff's cars need to go.
But we have
Down
one,
stuff.
and y'all probably know it, oh,
You can't see that from.
out there on
Yes, you can.
14,
Yeah.
Like Steve from office.
the old Pride compound there on 14, in between Wortham and Richland,
Yeah.
that junky little corner, we did the abatement on it. And we went in there and we scraped that sucker down to the dirt. And, you know, it's coming back. It's coming back strong. They're putting more stuff out there and all that stuff now. So we're gonna end up, and he ain't paid the bill yet. So we're gonna end up going back at him, putting him back in jail for illegal dumping and doing another abatement on it. And the county's only gonna mess with it so long before they just come in there and file the lien and take the property. They don't really worry about the properties that are out there on these county roads out. They worry more about the property that's bordering the highways, subdivisions, you know, stuff like that. But I'm just giving y'all kind of an overall view of it. And do I agree with all the state laws out there? No. You know, and same way in a creek. The guy goes and dumps trash in a creek, household trash in a creek. Well, you need to charge them with illegal dumping, or you can charge them under the water code for water pollution. You see what I'm saying? Because
Which is a lot higher fine.
state jail felony. Because every waterway in the state belongs to the state. Per the state law, every waterway is called the water of the state. So I started charging people under the water code instead of illegal dumping. And I put them in jail on state jail felony. So, you know, there's a lot that can be done. But the whole premise of this wasn't to get into that. To get into the hearing officer, you know, increasing the revenue. But anyway, I agree with you, Bill.
That's interesting, I'm just, you know, there's a lot of old abandoned houses out there.
And you know you can't burn them anymore. Used to, you go out there and burn them. I know mine.
Why can't you burn them?
Because the old houses have asbestos and all this other stuff in them, or they could, and that's a violation of Clean Air Act. So now people call me, hey, I got an old house, I ain't burning. I'm like, dude.
Well, that's what we track over there, dig a hole and put it in there and then burn it.
Yeah.
Then they know, I guess it won't have that.
Then you contaminate the groundwater. Then you contaminate the groundwater.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of them catch-22 deals where you're gonna have to tear it down, put it in a dumpster, and haul it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just talking, you know, how laws can be, you know, common sense.
But see, I spent the last 3 years just educating people,
Yeah,
because people don't know.
yeah.
And I'm not gonna automatically ding a guy because he didn't know. I'm gonna educate him and work with him and try to get it cleaned up for him. It's those ones that just refuse.
One other thing that's come up, I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
Right, that's come up since last time, there will be a, increase the county's responsible for the 77th juvenile probation district. And, trying to see what the,
Are you looking for it in the budget?
have you plugged those numbers in yet?
Yes. It's under miscellaneous is where the juvenile expense is.
Do you remember what?
It went up to like, I think 100 and,
Yeah, I got the total now, I just don't have what it was last year on this document that came from them. Our portion, we pay 45%, Limestone County pays 55%. And our portion of that budget this year will be $142,592. And that's one of those deals, thank goodness that they get the funds from the government, because to house juveniles posts to put them. And what is it, $500 something a day? When they're holding these kids, you know, so it's a very expensive program. Anyway, I just want you to know that's something that's whatever that difference was, I don't know exactly. I'm trying to check off all my little notes over here. We're talking about anything else that popped up this last week. Yeah, I think the ramps that the election administrators coming here talking about, when they got there to put in for them and the signs, do that out this year's budget. Something that we like don't have it for this year's November election. So that's all, it's not a budget request. I think that's all I have on this one. With my notes.
Motion adjourned. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, aye.